Hello. So, my voice is probably going to sound pretty weird because I'm eating a polo. But putting that aside, I'm just going to turn on the phone and just talk a little bit without really making any plans about what I'm going to talk about. Probably just talk about life really, because I've got exams coming up tomorrow. Well, I've got my philosophy exam tomorrow, and I feel like I've mentioned this at the start of every video I've made for the last however long, for the last 2 days. So yeah, that's happening. I feel like I've left most of my revision till the last minute. I revised Aristotle today. I've been doing bits of Plato for like quite a while, so like he was okay to revise actually. Soul, mind, body, a topic I'm not comfortable with writing a decent essay on. Religious experience. I feel like if that topic comes about, I can sort of wing it. Like I know the basics, and I feel like I'll be able to fill in the gaps with just common sense. So I'm not too worried about that topic. Religious language. Now this is quite a big topic, and there's lots of different aspects to it which could come up in the exam. But I don't feel too worried about it. Like I know little bits about Wittgenstein. I know little bits about logical positivists. I know bits about falsification and Karl Popper and Anthony Flew and all those guys. So I don't think it'll be too hard if a question comes up on that. Attributes. I'll be okay with that. Like I know that those are like I don't feel like I'm gonna write any sort of outstanding essays in this exam, because in the last exam I knew the question. Well, I didn't know the question, but we got told what topic it was on beforehand, so we could just concentrate all our revision down to this one topic. And I didn't like the question particularly. I found it restricting. It was assessed the view that natural evil has a purpose, and because it had natural evil in the question, it like really threw me off at the start, and throughout the whole essay I thought I'd done extremely bad on it. But I actually didn't do that bad, and I think I made a video about that essay. We're just like doing a read through of it on my channel somewhere, so that'll be on there. But I know, like I know that I think I do bad on all my essays, and not everything I do. But it turns out okay. But this time I actually don't think I'm gonna do like very good. Like I won't be happy if I get a C, but I feel like that's probably what I'll get, a C or a D. I don't think I'll get a D. I think a C is probably what I'll get, but it's not what I want. And the reason I'm not going to get what I want is because I don't feel like I've put in enough work. I've put in bits of work, but not enough. Not the amount I would like to have put in if I was able to be some sort of revision robot where I'd be able to sit down and just focus and force myself to work. But unfortunately I'm not. I'm a human, and I feel like I'm prone to distraction. But yeah, I think the human mind is interesting. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting place to be. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. It it interacts in weird ways in different places. I don't know. I think mental illness is interesting as well. Like, it's something that I feel like everyone struggles with at least once in their life. Some more than others, and it's just, is it a distorted view of the world? Is it, I don't know. I guess a mental illness is characterised by something which has a negative impact on your daily life. So, like, I guess everyone's got a different brain, but it's if you're having, it's if the way your brain functions starts to negatively impact the way that you're living your life, to the point where you can't lead a normal life. You can't lead a life whereby you can be productive, or whatever it means to live a meaningful, normal life. Yeah. And I guess we all do have obstacles in the way, but I don't know, maybe some people have more obstacles than others. And I feel like it's hard to assess the degree of our own obstacles, because we get stuck inside our own head. We're existing in our own head, so it's very easy for us to blow things out of proportion. Sometimes you might need to go speak to someone, like someone who's outside your head, and who can give a little bit of an objective perspective of how you're interacting with the world, like when you're not clouded by all these different thoughts. Like, especially if you do have a mental illness in the first place, then presumably you're going to be having some sort of distorted view of reality, and that could be extremely negative. It could be extremely positive, with the likes of bipolar, and it could be psychotic, I guess, if you've got schizophrenia. And you might not necessarily realise that your perception is clouding the way that you're seeing reality, and that's not how things actually are. And I get that we can't ever experience how things actually are, but we can experience things in a way which is in ways which are better, and ways which are worse. And I guess we know that from our own experience, or at least I know that from my own experience. I know that when I'm happy, or when I'm in a good mood, or when I'm focused, or when I'm able to sit down and do something for a long period of time, and that I'm feeling productive, I know that feels good. And I know that I would much rather be in that state than be in a state whereby I can't focus, whereby I'm having a bad day, I'm overthinking about everything, I'm feeling socially anxious. I would much rather have the former than the latter. So there is better ways to be in reality. And I guess it's all about could we reduce this down to a sense of well-being? Perhaps we could. Because well-being isn't necessarily just happiness. I guess it's like, it's different to happiness, and it's different to pleasure. I would associate well-being with being balanced in multiple different areas of life. So you have a social balance, you have an individual balance. You don't have a mental this you're not distorting reality with your own perceptions in a way which isn't conducive for you to have good well-being. I guess it would also constitute having some sort of material success as well, like perhaps having a job, and even further than that, maybe a job that you enjoy, a job that brings you in enough money to be able to have a decent standard of living. And I know that too much money can be bad as well, but look, I guess it's not about having too much money, it's just about having enough. And obviously there's all these factors that play through your mind subconsciously all the time. It's like when you're at college, and it's like, oh, they're like, don't worry about exams, they're fine. It's like, yeah, they're fine, but they're important. They determine the sort of future that you're going to have for most people. I'm not saying everyone who's extremely successful has gone through the education process and came out with some letters on a piece of paper, and then they've been able to go through the job they want, because that's not always the case. Like, I think it was it Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs was the one who created the Apple. Yeah. And Bill Gates did Microsoft, yeah. Well, Steve Jobs, he ended up dropping out of university. I can't remember where it went, but I think it was Oxford or Cambridge or somewhere like that. One of the really high-end universities. And he ended up dropping out and taking a lot of LSD, and then starting a company, Apple, which is now one of the biggest companies in the world. Another one is Richard Branson. I think he was a college dropout. Can't remember what company he owns. Is it Virgin? Yeah. So that I guess there is the odd few people who happen to have like extreme talents or an extreme or a really profound vision of what they want to do with their lives, and they're just able to work towards that. But I don't like I have fleeting interest, I'd say. I struggle to like commit myself to doing one thing. Like I enjoy art, I enjoy philosophy, and I enjoy sociology. I do those subjects at college, but then I enjoy learning about psychology, but not psychology that you learn in the classroom where you go through all the different case studies and research methods and all that stuff. I don't teach myself. I'm interested in listening to videos about psychology, and I have been for years. And I'm really glad that I found Jordan Peterson, because he's really broadened my mind on psychological topics and also religion. He's offered me a lot of new perspectives on that and God, and I don't know. He's got me thinking a lot, and I feel like he's really helped me with my philosophy lessons, like unintentionally. Obviously, he isn't just sat down with me and like, Steph, you need to do this and this and this. It's like, no, it's just the things that I've learned from watching hours and hours and hours of his lectures and his videos. I've been able to apply to different areas of my life. For example, sociology and philosophy, and even art. Like I don't know. The reason I found Jordan Peterson was because I think it was Carl Jung or Nietzsche that I was searching on. I feel like it was probably Carl Jung. I wanted to get more in. I wanted to do more research into his psychology and what he was all about, because I was briefly familiar with him since about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. But I never really like knew a lot about him, so I still don't know much about him. But like I know a little bit now, and yeah, I just ended up coming across this guy, and I was like, oh, he looks pretty interesting. So I started watching, and I just like from day one, I just felt captivated. I remember that the first time I found him, I think I just sat and watched like probably 100 hours of videos in the first month or so. I watched him all the way through the summer, and then I ended up having to take a break from watching him because I did watch too much, and obviously, like, if you want to sort of have an objective view of reality, you don't. Well, I say an objective view of reality. I know that I don't have an objective view of reality, but I mean, yeah, I think it's important that you don't just tune into one person and just listen to all their views and just take it all and say accept it all. I think it's important that you do listen to a range of different people's opinions or different people's views on life, and then you're able to make an informed decision that way. Yeah, but Jordan Peterson, he's definitely up there. I've got him on the back of my phone case. Well worth 27 quid, I think it was. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel pretty stressed with college. But today, I'm aware of it. Like, but I've been doing some reading, and it's like, you sort of have to not get so caught up in your head. Like you can't think yourself out of being anxious, or you can't think yourself out of being depressed. You sort of have to move into your body and do something that way. For example, I got bored, so I did some yoga poses on the floor, and then went downstairs, got some water, came back upstairs. Actually, I picked up my polos from my bedroom on the way up, but my sister's asleep on my bed, so I'll probably be sleeping on the sofa tonight. I'm currently in my mum's bed, just been revising. But yeah, so you have to sort of get into your body a little bit and like feel what you're going through, rather than just trying to think your way out of it and just saying, because when you try and think your way out of something, it's very easy to think yourself deeper into it. It's like you start thinking, oh, I shouldn't be feeling like this, and then like there's so many thoughts going through your head, and then you might even start replaying conversations that happened earlier on in the day. And you're like, oh shit, I used the wrong word, and it's like no one else noticed that but you. Maybe if some people did notice it, they're not going to be thinking about it at this time, later on in the day. and you just can't let go of it because it's like, oh, it keeps coming back, and then you're worrying about something else, and it's like, oh shit, you've got exams coming up tomorrow, and you're not ready. And then it's just all these different thoughts, and it's like, yes, most of them do have some validity to them. You do have an exam coming up tomorrow. You as in me, like I'm talking to myself in the third person. You do have an exam coming up tomorrow, and that's important, and you should have probably done more revision for that, but you have been revising for it. Like you're not, the content isn't alien to you. You know most of the scholars, you know most of the ideas to an extent, so you should be able to write an okay essay on it. And I know it's not going to be up to the standard that I want. And I have this tendency to, like, when I fail at something, it feels like the end of the world. Like, I don't know why. I've just been part of fear of failure for quite a while. Pretty much since secondary school, and probably further back than that. I can't exactly remember when it started. But yeah, it's just always been a thing. Like, I've just always not, like, I've always been scared of not making things perfect. So if you can hear that mess, it's my music. But unfortunately, nothing's perfect, and like, it's easy to fall into the perfectionist trap. Like, when you do a couple of good things, it's easy to leave it at that. It's like, we just sort of rest on your laurels, don't you? And it's like, well, why would I want to ruin a good thing? And it's like, well, that good thing isn't going to be good forever. That A star you got on that test that one time isn't gonna stay good forever. Eventually, you're gonna hit a new test, and you're gonna not do so great on it. Well, shit, it's gonna cut out in like 4 seconds. So thanks for watching. I guess this is a random video.